Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Porky's 5 and 10, released in 1938, it's the 196th in the series, and it's directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this on the Porky Pig 101 DVD set in a, well, semi-restored state, but on HBO Max you can find it fully restored and in HD. Now, in case you haven't seen this one, as it's not in the public domain, all that happens is that Porky decides to open up a 5 and 10 cent store on a tropical isle. Some of his goods end up getting taken by some fish who end up doing a lot of shenanigans with the items, and that's pretty much it. What you're about to see is a re-edit of the original audio commentary I did a while back, thanks to Blue Genocide for helping me with that. You'll also see a sample from the Clampett Retrospective Part 1, thanks to Eli Copperman for giving us some info during that little part there, and I will also be providing some extra insights that I noticed since the original commentary, so grab some popcorn and enjoy. So, in the very beginning, I was told that Norm McCabe animates the scene with Porky waving goodbye at the beginning, and he also animates the very end when Porky sprays the fish with water. So, the title itself refers to the stores in the United States, the five and dime stores. Here we've got similar, I guess, dollar. We got sort of cheapy stores here as well. You know, the ones here. I mean, this might be interesting for you guys. Outside of Australia, we've got a shop called the Reject Shop. So that's probably something along those lines, where they sold the more cheaper goods. And Porky is actually hardly even in it, really. He's basically trapped in his own boat, and he's trying to, get his stuff back and move on. And it's quite clear, because I've been told that Bob Clampett for a time would also do his own gags, that, this one looks like it was him putting all the gags together, and I think his stuff, the stuff that, when he actually has a writing team developing the stuff for him, I think that works out a lot better for him, because, he's great with the gags, there's no question about it, but he's even better when he has other people helping with the story structure, and maybe that's what Chuck Jones gave him when he was assisting him for that little while. Because I did notice the stories were a lot more solid. I mean, Chuck Jones is still here as an animator, and we get a few little fish versions of celebrities here. I mean, this is pretty obvious. I mean, it's Laurel and Hardy, of course. Some of my favorite comedians of all time, and Greta Garbo. Notable for the large feet supposedly, and the whole thing about leaving her alone. She was notoriously private, and Mae West always in that particular shape. So a little short, and this gag got me. I mean, I knew there was something coming, but just the way the sign of the octopus. Sure, it's got the legs and all that, but yeah, I just like that they have to add the eyebrows as well, just to show, it's a girl octopus, so yeah. It's like, okay, we're nearly finished with the cartoon, so yep, let's do this quick little gag, get all the stuff back, and then, Porky's got to now come back and do the one final spray, and yep, all done. Eli, did you want to talk about 5 and 10 for us?
Oh, sure. In fact, but before I say my points, because anyone who knows the history of the studio will already tell you that Clampett was pretty much assigned to just make the black and white Porky Pig cartoons, but he was able to find loopholes in that as long as it featured Porky, they didn't have to star him. So they could have Porky in them, but the main focus would end up being on these other characters that Clampett wanted to mess around with. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, this could be the first one where he really started doing that, really started to actually take advantage of that mentality. Because the real star of the show are these fish who just pretty much steal all of Porky's stuff. And just, I gotta say, there's some really funny animation in here. I don't know who animated which shot. Honestly, I don't even know what stuff was done by Chuck or John Carey, the other credit animator, but there's some great experiment, wacky shenanigan animation that the animators are doing with the different fish. And What I also find really funny is that there is a payback. Other cartoons would just be like, well, Porky's done. It's like, game over. But no, the fish get their comeuppance when the tornado comes in and Porky gets his stuff back. It's like those nice little bits of thank you, so some closure. You know, I don't think a lot of other cartoons would have really taken advantage of that as much as this one.
Yeah, they'll really gain the hang of story structure, I found, around this time as well, especially with with the arrival of text. Okay, so 2 things on this newspaper. I mean, you've got President Roosevelt. So Franklin Roosevelt was the president of the United States since 1933, and it's just amusing how he happens to be bidding Porky farewell, at least according to this paper. But the other interesting thing is that Bulla Bulla Isle, that is the first line of a children's song of Skidmarink. You might have heard that, Skidmarinky Dinky Doo. Don't worry, I'm not going to be singing the whole thing, but the first line of the original version was down on a Bulla Bulla Isle, so that appears to be what that's referring to. And it seems we have a reference to Petunia, his girlfriend or sister, depending on what Frank Clashton short you're watching around this time. But interesting that Petunia is used here. I don't know if that's intentional, but still, it's pretty cool. And we now hear a wonderful rendition of The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down, appropriately played on a merry-go-round. Well, sorta. The woohoo you're going to hear comes from Hugh Herbert, who was a motion picture comedian of the time. Oh, and of course, foo is not from the Foo Fighters, but it's some nonsensical nonsense term that Clampett enjoyed to use. I believe it came from a comic strip around that time. The reference, I hope, comes from the Elmer Blurt character from the Al Pierce show from around this time, and yeah, it must have been a pretty big influence on him. Now, if you listen very carefully to the lyrics to Hooray for Hollywood here, there's one different lyric. Go out and try your luck, you might be Daffy Duck. Now, did you hear that? So instead of Donald Duck, we have Daffy Duck. I wonder why they did that. And
now, Gangsta Busters.
So Gangsta Busters is a reference to the long-time radio crime drama Gangbusters. Now, I've mentioned Olive Owen Hardy, Greta Garbo, and Mae West, as you can see here, but she goes to the fight, which has 2 names on there. Gene Tuna and Jack Sharkey. I know Gene Tuna is based off of boxer Gene Tunney, or Tooney, if I said it right. I probably buggered that one up. But there's also Jack Dempsey, whom I believe is the other person. If I am wrong, especially on the second one, please let me know. I also have to say the fight itself is just an incredible idea where they're actually literally fighting and creating their own commentary. That's very bizarre and very clever. I like it. This gag is just crazy. It's so silly. Like, why would the worm be happy? But I don't know. It's one of those silly jokes that just brought a smile to my face. It's so dumb. So what would I rate this one? This made me smile quite a bit, and yeah, okay, there's barely any Porky in it, because we all know that Clampett is starting to get more interested in using other characters. For the most part, he will use Porky a lot in Porky in Wacky Land and Porky and Daffy in some upcoming cartoons, but this one's very solid. I mean, this one's 7.5 out of 10. I laughed. I thought some of the animation's great, especially of what you can see right now with this fish here. No, it's definitely one that's worth watching. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.